One of the biggest rewards that I get from being a minister, specifically friends and family minister, is the personal integration that comes from working with others through their processing and through their integration. It's one of the biggest rewards that I didn't go seeking for. It wasn't something that I expected to happen. It almost makes me feel like there's a little bit of ego involved in even saying that, but at the same time, it's noticing how the abundance of processing and integrating that has been in my life because of space holding, because of what I've learned as being a minister, because of being a friends and family minister, it has greatly impacted my own journey. It has greatly impacted my own ability to work through some of my processes and some of the things that I've had to work on along the way. One of my favorite parts of being a minister is the ability to communicate with people on that capacity. I don't feel like having a conversation with someone, as a minister, I feel like having a conversation with someone, I can bring in all of the aspects that I want to bring, spirituality, what the mushroom's about. I just don't feel limited in the conversation as a minister, especially speaking with people about my ministership, people that are seeking information about it. I find that it really allows me to embody what I feel that it is and to share it.
Isn't it wild just saying you're a minister? Like, just to be like, and like really meaning it. I can tell that you mean it.
Yeah. It is wild. It is something that's probably never thought I would say. Yeah, that's okay. It's okay. I never thought I'd wear so much tie-dye either. That's all right. I'm good with that too.
It's the uniform of mushroom minister.
Right. I can't leave out how much I enjoy watching other people heal, watching other people grow, watching them change their lives for the better. Not from my perspective of better, but from their perspective of better. Meeting more of their own expectations, learning to work through and understand whether those expectations are healthy or not. That's so impactful. So what I get from being a minister, it impacts my life. I honestly, I embody that mindset on a daily basis. There's conversations that I have with people in our community, outside of our community. There are Zoom calls that are on. It's almost every day of the week I embody my ministership all the time. Now, some of those beautiful parts. I really am interested in how you feel. What are some of your favorite parts of being a minister? What's your favorite thing?
I think what you spoke to there in terms of helping people process, like on a continual basis too, because like I'll have conversations with people that I've been feeding mushrooms to for 5 or 6 years, and knowing their journey and being like having a vested interest in their journey and being able to like, oh yeah, remember that experience that you had, and help connect dots, or watch them connect dots really is what more it is about as we have conversation. There's definitely like I'm intentional about the conversations that I'm having with people, and that's one of the things that I love. I think I've always been like all about intentional conversations, and most people like out there, that's not a regular thing, whereas this being my life, that's all I have is, for the most part, is really intentional conversations. And so that trajectory of witnessing someone's growth. And then the other thing that really comes up for me is being able to helping people feel that the weirdness is good. Like, we live in this, most of our lives we live in this box where we've got to be behaving in a certain way. And when someone is like on the ground growling like a dog or something, I don't know, all kind of weird stuff, and you're just like giving them permission, and you like feel that expansion within themselves, I don't know what it is about that, but I just love giving people permission to be weird.
I love that. That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's like, too, like I'm able to have the comparison of it being a vocation. Like, I've been feeding mushrooms to people for a long time, but now, as a ministership, there's a different flavor to it. There's obviously, of course, there's like similar elements. And I think maybe the biggest difference is that I'm able, in this context, I'm more able to speak about God or the mystery, whatever it is, which feels good to me because there was always this putting this lid on something or not talking, the elephant in the room kind of thing. So I was writing on that today. I want to say it's a phenomenon. I think I've seen it enough that I could, within my own experience, call it that. I'm curious with you about how you've maybe seen people's relationship with God change as they work with mushrooms.
I've definitely seen growth in individuals and seen their relationship with God or Creator or whatever. And watching that grow, I think, has been, it's fulfilling in a way. There's a part of my heart that feels happy, that feels joy, that it wasn't missing something that needed that. But man, it's nice to see, just like it's just a highlight of a good moment. It's just a good feeling, a good vibe, a good energy. Anything, honestly, that makes me feel good like that, it's worth having.
Yeah, it's not, oh, I saved someone or some bullshit like that. But
and that's where I think what I've enjoyed more is watching people's understanding of God change.
All right. Yeah.
Like their relationship is one thing, but watching those aha moments that are only ahas just for them, and they really start to piece it together with what they believe, what they feel, with what their knowing is, and that's a magical moment. That sometimes it happens in processing, sometimes it happens where you're holding space, and man, they can't wait to tell you about it when they come out of that experience. But it's just being there for that moment, for that excitement, that oh, this isn't what I thought it was. Yeah. Oh, this is so much better. Oh my God. Those moments are amazing when it comes to that spiritual awakening. And me, myself, having one of those moments. I did that on my own. And wow, I was so confused. So what an amazing thing it is that I was able to not only find a community, but find one that was in my backyard, find a sanctuary right here, and then be able to come and have places to be able to have a community to come out of an experience like that in. Like I said, I was lost. I didn't know what to do. Mine was more of a therapeutic dose. This is what I was looking for, was therapy. I was working through, I had no clue that my spiritual awakening was about to happen, and this was about to be blown wide open. And so there's those moments, but then there's also those, but it's just all the spiritual, the ones that I feel that they're just so to the core. They help people define and understand from a level that's beyond what this human experience is. And that's true to it does something different for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you talk about the community element of it and having people, like seeing people process together or having these realizations within community, two things come up for me. One is those hours, usually a couple of hours, few hours after the peak of the experience, when people come together, and a lot of times in our case it's sitting around a fire, camping out, and just like that sense of, we're all in this together. Nobody's going to be able to understand what I just went through, and yet we all understand.
Right.
We all get it. And like that last ceremony we had, that there was like that one really big experience, and most people had relatively moderate experiences, but it feels like there's still this sense of camaraderie. Like you get to experience that person's experience, even if you're just observing it. You get some of that.
Still part of your experience.
Part of that.
It's a part of your experience.
And you feel accomplished watching them go through that. The other thing that comes up I didn't expect this.
I love that you pointed that out.
Yeah, that's fun.
The feeling accomplished because watching someone else work.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I didn't want
No, it's all. I even get it as a space holder. I don't have to eat any mushrooms and just watch and like, yeah, we're doing this. And I will often tell people, I'll often thank people for the work that they have done for the collective or myself. But another thing that comes up that I didn't expect, and this has only happened through Sanctuary, I've only experienced it through Sanctuary, is where people will have a solo experience, often the private of their own home or out in their own property or whatever it is, and then they bring that experience back into the collective, like via Zoom or in person, whatever it is, and by relating their experience, someone else is able to either integrate, further process some of their own content, some of their own experiences, or someone is able to like relate to that and feel like, oh my God, I'm not alone. And even though there is this aloneness in the experience, and you may not even get together in person, it might just be on a Zoom call. That is honest to God, I was so skeptical of Zoom, and I was so like just resistant to it. And yes, the in person is like always going to be, there's always going to be a more richness to it, but I have been blown away at how much value, I know us, but like everybody seems to be getting out a lot of these Zoom calls when we're just processing our separate experiences in that virtual room. Did not see that coming.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I think all of that blossomed and expanded when our culture, our society here, it's really what we needed. There was a lot going on, a lot of separation, and I feel like the Zoom calls, like, it really brought a lot to me for the community. I was able to attend, I was able to be a part of it, I was able to feel like I was part of something, that it wasn't just, oh, I'm just doing this just for me. And one thing that I can say about, maybe it is the Zoom calls, the constant interaction, because I chose to be there as much as possible. But thinking back on it and listening to you say that, what came up for me was that I don't feel alone when I'm alone in my journeys anymore. I feel like I know that I have a community to come back to. I know that even though I'm having this experience by myself, I'm doing it, no one else even knows, maybe one or two people, but I know that there's 50 to 100, 150, if not more, people that are right there with me, for me. And I see it in our community, people sharing when they're going to have ceremony, people sending them energy, people specifically taking time out of their day to support someone while they're states away, having,
and then excited to hear from them.
Right, excited. Right. So I don't feel alone anymore. I felt alone those first couple times, and then I found this community, and I don't feel alone. I haven't felt alone, I don't think, since I became a part of.
That's wild. I can identify with that, though. I've never thought about it. I had maybe a year and a half ago, it was last winter, so it's whatever, and I started this dose down here in this basement, and I remember what an integration moment, because I just can remember sitting down here and feeling like held by all the people around me, and knowing that I was going to come out of this and be able to share what I had experienced with some folks that would care enough to listen. And that's all I really needed, and that's all anybody needs, is just some people that care enough to listen and maybe have a little curiosity. So what's been the toughest thing for you? Or what are some challenges you face?
I was about to ask you that.
Oh, yeah.
So the toughest challenge that I face as a minister and space holder. So my self-minister, a lot of my experience revolves around, and my self-minister, but a lot of my energy and effort, I guess that's my practice with myself. So a lot of my experience as a minister is within our community, just dealing with friends and family, holding space for others, working in circles and doing things within our community. So the most difficult thing that I find as a space holder, as a minister, is when there's no integration and there's no process work. There's no more time with the individual after the experience. It's you and I have discussed this before. I feel like there's an energetic connection. I feel like there's a lack of closure. Once again, I was in this experience with you. This was my experience as well. However, I can understand and appreciate and honor that this is what you need.
So you're speaking when people take space, or they don't show up to an integration, or
they don't come integrate at all.
They don't come integrate.
I think that's the most difficult part. Just because I'm left with the curiosity and the concern for the individual. And like I said, it's not something that it's not something I want to control. I don't want to make it happen if it's not supposed to. But that's the most difficult part for me. Like I said, I feel like there's a lack of closure without some of that conversation, without some of that, and some of that's on me. But that's something that I have to work through. That's something that I have to be aware of when I go in to hold space with people, that this might be, and it's not, I don't want to talk bad or make it seem bad to anyone who might have chose not to do, or anyone who does choose not to do. It's just my personal reflection of what's most difficult. That's the most difficult. Do you have a most difficult?
It's along the same lines. I want to say it is when, just generally when people withdraw from community, because I know it's like this. It's this weird kind of place that I think all of us get into. Is that very often when we need community the most is when we will avoid it the most. And like there are a lot of people I can think of who I just don't see anymore. And it has nothing to do with me like wanting them to be members of Sanctuary. It's that I just like legit care about where they're at in their process. And I know that being in community, disciplining ourselves and continuing to show up is going to be the most helpful route for the vast majority of people. If not everybody, I don't want to just say it's always one, but we can't do this thing in isolation. We just can't. We can't do it in isolation. And so, yeah, I think about a lot of people, a lot of times that I don't see anymore. And there's sometimes some folks I'll reach out to, and if they don't really want to have conversation, then it's all good. But like there was somebody we saw last night that we haven't seen for a long time, and it's like I know that they want to be. I know that they benefit when they're around. I see it. They say it. I know it, and then I see them not show up because it's like difficult sometimes to like either just make the effort to do the thing or to look at the mirror that's in front of you. So that's the hardest thing for me, I would say. There's also this, I really struggle with the tendency for people to think that someone else might be the expert on them. I think it's like it's built into our society, just like the role of minister overall generally is like people look to this other person as the authority on their spirituality, and that's bullshit, man. Can't nobody be a greater authority on your spirit than you, and yet it's just baked into our culture at this point.
I'm not sure they want us thinking about it from that perspective, which is a shame. But that's one thing that our sacrament and community and my own expansion and growth has shown me, and it's just amazing how much, it's amazing, I guess, just how much I've learned in that aspect from the sacrament.
Go ahead, sir.
I was just thinking, we were talking about difficulties, and something that came to mind was that I find it difficult as a minister also when I don't feel like I can provide enough integration, or when I feel like, so for myself, in my own experience, I accumulated quite a few people, and then that turned into, how do I keep up with all of these people? And one of the things that I really learned quick was that I wasn't the person who was just a one and done. I went and had this experience, and then I got some integration, and now I'm all better. It was a process for me. So I needed constant integration. I had to find ways that weren't developed. Even in Sanctuary, they weren't developed yet. And I had to find my own, I basically had to find my own support system, and I had to learn how to work my support system. So I did it from a therapeutic perspective, and then I came to Sanctuary for a spiritual perspective, and then I quickly learned that these were supposed to be together from the very beginning. I keep trying to fix this thing over here, but man, I wasn't even looking. What I find difficult is, like I said, I started to accumulate a lot of people and feeling that responsibility for those people. So I found that a little difficult, a little overwhelming at first, almost to a burnout, where I know this needs to happen, but maybe I'm not in a place where I'm ready to do this. There's space that I need for me to be able to heal and grow. I can't just constantly facilitate, but yet I feel that desire to do it, and I feel the need to do it. That was something that I had to deal with and learn boundaries around, learn what I need, learn how to respect I was trying to respect other people's boundaries more than my own.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what, when you are a giver, that's easy to do. It's easy to do. But we got to learn to give to ourselves, which has been probably one of the most challenging things for me as a minister. I've always been I would sacrifice myself to my own detriment. I guess anytime you sacrifice yourself, it's your own detriment, but I would go above and beyond for other people to my own detriment. And that's something that I don't know. I feel like I tried to communicate that early on, and I know we still do, but it's one of those things that people got to learn on their own.
It's a lived experience.
Yeah, it is.
I'm not the same person that I was the day that we had that conversation where you told me about it before I got there. And I'm not sure that the conversation definitely came up in the times that I felt that way. So it was definitely important to have the knowledge beforehand. But I agree with you. I think it's a lived experience.
I'm probably a better communicator now, too, than I was
probably
3 or 4 years. How long were you?
It's not 3 years.
Is it 3? Going on 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it would have been spring. So this coming spring will probably, it's 2.5 years now. It was like a spring ceremony but you were a part of the community before that ceremony for a while.
Yeah, we had to be for at least 6 months. I joined in like November, I think, that year before that.
This thing has gone through
it's evolved.
It's evolved.
It's a beautiful thing, though.
It is, man. It is. I'm so glad I almost messaged you last night, just like recognizing how long of a drive you had at 8 o'clock after the men's circle that you facilitate, and it just really struck me just how much you're investing in this community, and I really truly appreciate it. The community appreciates it. I see how much people appreciate Jeff's love.
I appreciate that.
We're going to talk about the men's circle on the next conversation, so check us out there and hear more about it.